mix max and add that little. Because I had missed those two. And those were very important. Yeah. Tell you about this lady right here for a moment since we have some time. Tell you how talking about the gift of I am on her. Tell you two stories real quick. My first story is when she came here, and I met her through my temple, Simchatorah Beta Midrash. And she was on stage, and I had a kindred spirit about her. Got to shake her hand and meet her in passing, and that was it. I got sick and went to the hospital. My sickle cell kicked up. And my our administrator to Rabbi at the time was Diana Woodson. And Diana Woodson had planned on coming to see me, and things kept getting in the way. So Diana had determined I am going to go this Tuesday, because she had tried that Thursday prior to the week, that Wednesday, that Friday, that weekend, and nothing happened. So she had just put her foot down, like, I'm going to the hospital to see Darnetta this Tuesday. And her husband, Pastor Woody, came with her. So I'm not sure if Diana called Pastor Israel, or Israel happened to call her. But anyway, she asked her what she was doing, and she said nothing. She said, what you're doing? I'm on my way to the hospital to visit one of our people. And she said, would you like to come? And Pastor Israel said, sure, I want to come. She said, yeah, I definitely want to come. And she said she felt something, but she wasn't sure what it was, that she needed to come that day. And there was a lot of things going on, but she needed to come. And when she came, we talked, and she looked at me. She says, I'll never forget it. She says, you're special. And I'm like, oh, no, not. She said, she said, there's a presence in this room. Mm-hmm. That's awesome. And see, I had a habit of, for my comfort for a long time, I would take my Talit and my Hebrew Bible and my Kamash with me. And I would study. And through the worst of the times, I would stay in some kind of prayer or thought. And that's how I just would do it. And people would come in my room, and they had, like this CNNs or the nurse. And they had gotten accustomed to me, because after almost 10 years of being part of this, they've seen me evolve, and they just knew who I am. And then I had an incident a couple of years back, that Eastside Kosher Deli's a matriarch, their grandmother died, that we became very, very close.
She's a friend of my mom and dad.
Oh, really? And at the end, her daughter, it was amazing. I was not that far down the hall from her on the 10th floor. And I had this Hebrew black silk scarf with the gold in it. And it said Yeshua. And it said, the temple and everything on it. And I ran into her. Her daughter actually came to visit me, because I don't know. It was just, I feel like God, Yah, put people together in the most strangest ways. And it was just strange. And so I had talked to her daughter once, because I had told my nurse that I needed to talk to her. I needed to tell her something. And I needed to give her something that was very blessed, that she needed to play for her mama. And so it was the Shema Esrei that our temple had made with music, the Lord's Prayer with music. And the Simonia Esrei was beautiful. So she did play it for her mother, okay? And it was Because at one time, the Hebrew prayers were done with music, and then they got out of music. And so she did play. But I ran into her one day in the hallway, and she had said, "Mama, this is the young lady that gave you the tape." And she looked at me, she says, "Ah." And I looked at her, and it was something about this woman that was so in my heart. And she looked at me, and I looked at her, and we hugged each other. And I took my scarf off that I had been praying under, and I wrapped it around her. And I said, "This is yours. And this will always be a part of me to you." And that was the last time I seen her. And the family, I saw her daughter again after that. We ran into each other, and she was in ICU. She was about to die at the time. And she died. But that's how I guess being in the hospital, that energy of mine, and I was always on the 10th floor. So being on this particular time, I wasn't on the 10th floor. I ended up on the 3rd floor, away from everybody that I normally know. But some are remarkable. Some of my nurses and some of my CNs discovered, and they had to do extra shifts, and discovered they wanted to be down there. I actually had some of them fighting over me sometimes to try to take care of me. I'm like, what is y'all's problem, okay? But Pastor Israel came in, and she said something special. And I was supposed to get my feet massaged and washed by my CNA. And it was a male. And he said, he had already paid. He said, "Dar, I want to wash your feet." If something about that day, he just needed to wash my feet that day. Mm-hmm. And that's a blessed sign that, if anybody don't know, I wasn't even thinking about it at that time. But it's an anointing sign. And because I washed them, he said, "But no, you need your legs massaged and you need your feet washed." I said, "Well, I'm not swollen." He says, "Doesn't care. I'll do it. Wait till I finish." So Pastor Israel was in there, and she heard. I says, "Okay, are you getting ready to do my feet?" She said, "You getting ready to wash her feet?" And he said, "Yes." She says, "When you get through washing her feet, I want to anoint her. I don't want you to anoint her feet. I want to anoint it." He said, "You sure?" He says, "Yes." She says, "I got something I got to do for her." So he rinsed my feet and patted down, and then she says, "Thank you." And when he did that, she said, "Could you get me some more fresh water again, please?" And so she rinsed it down again, but in a prayer, not really washing it, but in a prayer. And then she patted it, and then anointed my feet. As she anointed my feet and my legs and my feet and going down, she was praying and silently, and then she started praying a little bit in tongue. And then she got quiet, and she told everyone, she says, this child is special. She's always been special. She said, we have chosen. There are those that are chosen, and then there are those that are chosen. She says, but this is the chosen of chosen. And I'm like, oh no. Put me there, please. And she says, and they can't touch her. And at that point, she flipped, and I realized that they can't touch her. You can't touch her. And then she started saying, you can't touch her. Meaning that anything that was dark or anything that was sinister around me they couldn't touch it, because she had pronounced, there are people that are special. There are the chosen, and then there is the chosen. She said there's the chosen, and then there's the chosen. But this, and she did this is the chosen. And you can't touch this. You never will be able to touch this. It doesn't matter. And she even said to me, it doesn't matter, as long as I stay close to Abba. It doesn't matter my little inconsistencies. It doesn't matter if I fall down. It doesn't matter because I was chosen from the beginning. It was a purpose for me coming. And I realize now that the revelation, that's why I'm so calm. That's why I know I'm going home. I see it. I see our Papa's been waiting. I see my family that's come. I see, because I got the pleasure of seeing them before. But I was denied to go home.